We have an interesting class tonight. Uh, this is number 7 in it, 1988.
Was that right?
I think it's 8.
You think it's 8, huh?
Look at it.
I'll check it and see. Anyway, it's on release, the law of release. And the writing started out by saying, I will speak to you tonight about the value of the law of release. So much of your day is given to concern about this or that, and sometimes almost everything you do. This causes stress in your nervous system, and in turn, strain in your physical body. This one thing, my dear ones, is the cause of most of your physical disabilities. And whereas your physical vehicle in time to a point where you are disabled or flee from the physical plane because it is too painful for you. I would remind you that you and you alone allow tension and stress to run through your thinking processes. You may say this individual or this situation is the cause of stress in my life. And then I was interrupted. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don coming to you again over the frequency of your center. When you have a radio station, you usually have a frequency that you tune into and you receive something from that station. And your group has a frequency that we tune into from this side of the dimension to this side of the veil to make contact with you. It is good that you are coming to this on a regular basis, and I commend you for this. It sets a pattern for you to consider and think about the things that we talk about. It also helps you to tune into these higher dimensions. And when you are here in this circle, I would have you know that the power is much, much greater than when you are alone. How many people do we have here tonight? Would someone count? 7? All right. The power is not just 7 times, but it's 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 until you say this 7 times. That is the power that is generated in a circle. So, what I am leading up to is when you go through your week and you become tired or distraught or something happens, if you can become quiet or just in your mind, think of yourself sitting in this circle. My dear ones, there is no such thing as time or space. And you can be in this circle with this greater power just by seeing yourself in your mind or thinking about the circle. And tune in and let that power come into your being and eliminate all the negativity that may have accumulated through the day or through something else. This is another technique that is available to you, and you should know about it. The law of release is one of the most important things for you to remember. And I think I have talked to you some about this in other classes. But when you send love, release after each time that you send love to someone. Release them to God. See them rising to the higher level of light and love, and think in your mind Father, I release this situation or this individual or this group into your keeping, and then turn loose of it in your mind. Think no more about it. You see, my dear ones, this is involved with your free will. If you send love to something or ask God's blessings on something and then you start worrying about it, you see you have taken the reins back again. And because of free will, God cannot continue to help that situation. And the love that you send is nullified by your worry and concern. Remember this, and it will increase your ability to be a part of the answer instead of a part of the problem. You, my dear ones, are learning to be part of the answer more and more all the time. Most of the entities on this dimension are a part of the problem because of their negative and fearful thoughts and their worry and concern and all the other negativity that goes on in their thinking processes. I commend you for being consistent with your learning to make yourself a channel for God's love and light to flow through to this world that is truly a world of darkness. It is not a world of light. There are many on this plane who are learning to be channels for God's love and light to flow through. And in your new age that is now here, this planet will be a planet of light. And as you raise your consciousness, you are a part of the answer instead of a part of the problem. In this law of release, when you allow negative thoughts or someone else to put pressure on you or some circumstance, you are accepting that. And my dear ones, you do not have to accept pressure from anyone, including your boss, that you might say at work. If you are doing what you do in love and with love as unto God, then you are doing it correctly. And if someone is upset, they may try to take it out on you. Let's have a scenario, shall we? Suppose that your employer has had a bad time with his wife or some situation, or his financial situation is not good, and he is worried and concerned about this, or she is. And you come to work and they jump on you for something. They are upset and disturbed within themselves. Let me tell you to remember that they have a problem and they need help. They don't need your negative thoughts or negative reactions. And if you can immediately send love to them and release them to God and go about doing the best you can with your life, then you do not have to take on the tensions that this would ordinarily, for the average person, cause. When someone feels that they are being abused, when they feel that they are not loved or not liked, then they feel bad about themselves. And this causes a disturbance in the emotional part of you. And this disturbance can go on, even after you consciously forget it. It can continue to go on in your subconscious level and cause you problems, and you do not know where they come from. When you realize that you are the boss of your life, that you are in charge, and you do not have to accept negative suggestions from others, you can receive what they say in love and with love, And through the power of God's love, you can be at peace within yourself and send them love and send yourself love and release it. When you release it, you think no more about it. This you need to remember. When you release, then it is like putting it out of your mind and going about doing whatever you're doing. There are many, many on this side who are with you much of the time, and some of you are learning to recognize their presence. You are learning to recognize that it's someone else's thoughts instead of your thoughts. Whenever they remind you this is not the right way to think, or remind you of something that maybe you have forgotten, always remember to be grateful for this. Thank your Father in heaven for this guidance and this extra help. Give credit where credit is due, because these dear ones that go with you from this side of the veil, some of them are no farther along in their soul's growth than you, and some of them are behind you. So you see, when they go with you to help you as your guides and as your teachers, they are learning as you learn. And it is also very good to remember to send God's love to all the invisibles around you, often through the day. When you do this, you see if they are entities of darkness that cause the negative situations in your life, or may cause you to think negative. And here I am saying this wrong, am I not? They may put out this vibration that you accept into your thoughts and allow it to be a negative condition. But you see, if they are of the darkness, they will have to change or leave. If they are of the light and are there to help you, then it helps to open the channels so that they can help you more. There is much to remind you of. I have told you this before, but we see that on your plane you forget much of the time because you get caught up in the physical world of illusion. You get caught up in your worries and your problems, so-called problems, and concerns. And the concern builds tension. The tensions within you cause stress, and the stress can go to the degree of what you call a nervous breakdown. And my dear ones, that's all a nervous breakdown is. It's just someone who has taken more tension and more stress than their body and their minds and the nervous system can handle. And so they are disabled and cannot function in their world as they have been doing. None of you are at this place, but I just point this out to you to show you that you do not have to be tense. You can learn to live a life that is relaxed, at peace, that is filled with joy, and is filled with love, if you think on these things. You see, this is the natural flow of life. It's love and light and joy and bliss and all the beautiful things of life. This is the natural trend. But on this lower dimensions, you have allowed negative thinking to build up, and every thought that you think goes out and creates more thoughts like itself. And in other lifetimes you have thought many negative thoughts, and these thoughts still linger around this planet and this plane. It is good that you would send love into those in darkness and to all the negativity from your past, but also immediately release it and allow no thoughts of guilt or self-condemnation. life is such a beautiful, wonderful thing when you understand it, when you understand that God only loves you and He wants only the best for you. He wants you to have everything that is in life. He wants you to have all the wealth that you want. He wants you to have the abundance of joy and love in your heart, and He wants you to be happy. But He has given you free will. You must remember this. And God's power does not create stress or strain in your life. It's a misunderstanding about life that creates this. When you misunderstand that you think someone else or some situation or world conditions or whatever has caused strain and stress in your life, you are mistaken. It is your thoughts about it that has caused the strain and stress. And if you are on guard, and if you remember that your life is what you make it and has nothing to do with anyone else or any other situation, but it does have to do with how you react to it. Are there questions that you would have tonight?
You know, I'm a little bit confused about releasing God's love and light. I understand if you send love to someone or something that causes you stress and turmoil, but if you're just sending love to someone that you love dearly, do you release that to God also?
Yes, everyone, especially those that you are close to and have formed opinions, are maybe judged without even realizing that you have done this. See, everyone is doing the best that they can, as your teacher has told you, at the moment, with their past conditioning. Not the best they know how intellectually, but the best that they can at the moment. And when you send love and hold on to any slightest degree of negative thoughts about them, your preconceived ideas about them, you see, you are interfering with God's ability to help that individual.
But what if you have no negative thoughts of them? Do you still release that?
It would be well to always release. Make it a habit to send love, and then you can send love to maybe a dozen things or 20 things, and then say, Father, I release all of this into your keeping. And turn your thoughts from it, from any of these situations, and go about doing something else. Do you understand now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. It is a good habit to, habit patterns can be very valuable, or they can be very destructive. And you have learned in the classes the difference. But sometimes there are fine lines, and some things are very subtle. So it is good to ask questions and allow the discussion to go through so that the understanding can come into your mind in greater abundance. Feel free to ask questions. Be open to ask the questions that you have in your mind.
Do the questions always have to pertain to what we're talking about?
Not always. If it's something important to you. Do you have a question?
Well, it's important to me, yeah. I was wondering why I have so much trouble making the decision whether or not to leave home, not in the sense of going somewhere secure, just kind of leaving and seeing where I end up. Kind of a journey, I guess you could call it. And could you help me out there?
I perceive one train of thought that in the olden days would be called a vagabond. Have you heard this word?
No.
I know the word's a bum.
Yeah.
Yes. A nice word for it is vagabond. But you see, in your thoughts, you're thinking without a plan or without anything to maintain your physical body, just to leave home. It is good for you to break away from your nest, I shall use these words, when you are ready, but it is also good to have a plan for your life and to be prepared. And when you go away from the nest without this security, without a feeling of security within yourself, without a plan for your finances and other things that you need, then it may cause you disturbances. But on the other hand, you may learn a lot. But it can be very painful for you at times and uncomfortable. Do you understand this?
Yeah, thanks.
It is a good thing to have a plan, and before you make a move of anything. Are there other questions?
When you send love to someone and release them, do you continue doing this at different times, like every day or something?
Yes. This is, you can repeat the same thing every day or several times a day, as long as you release it at that moment and do not think about it again until you send them love again. See, the worry and concern about someone can cancel out the good that you're doing by sending love. And this is why I ask you to release, is to eliminate any worry or concern, any negative thoughts about the situation. It is such a habit for most on this plane to be worried and concerned about many things in their lives. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you.
In sending love and releasing it, can we work with animals also?
Oh my goodness, yes. You can work
Yeah.
with anything. Work with your automobile. Donald sends love to his car almost daily.
I do that. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
And your animals will feel it much more than people. There is a good relationship with Donald and the birds in this area. He feeds the birds and he talks to them, and they understand. It is amazing to some people that the birds and the animals can communicate with people, but there is this ability to set up a communication line with all forms of life. You see, the birds, your dogs, your animals, your furniture are all a part of the one life. It makes no difference. And when you send love to your automobile or to something mechanical, it helps it, but it also may help you to remind you that it needs attention, that something is wrong. And if you are in tune, you will know what to do. This is the rapport with life. When you are happy and at peace within yourself, then you are happy and at peace with life. And many things will come to you. Much understanding and enlightenment can come through in many, many ways when you are relaxed and at peace within yourself and with your life around you and those around you that you work with, those of your family and others. Do I feel other questions?
You know, and I have another one that I wonder about our guides and teachers. You had said a little while back that they are learning also. Do they make mistakes when guiding us, or do they have someone to guide them so they don't make mistakes guiding us?
Yes, there is a chain of command, as you would say. They have teachers and guides on up to the throne of God, you see. And your teachers and guides have meetings and talk about their charges, as they call them. And if you have a teacher that is connected to you, he may call you his charge, because he is in charge of helping you in every way that you will let him. And there are very few mistakes. Now, when you get incorrect guidance, it is from those of the darkness. And it is when you have opened your mind to negative thinking, worry, anxiety, all these other things of the darkness. You see, whenever you think negative, you connect yourself with that level, that dimension, and those dark thoughts can come in. And it is not from your teachers and guides that are from the planes of light and love. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. You put that very well.
Yes. It is good to talk about your teachers and guides and to understand that they are eager to help you in love. They do not have the stress and strains that you allow yourself on the physical plane to have as much. You see, they do not have to go to work, or they do not have to support a body like you do. But they do have work that they do, and part of them are working with the people on this planet Earth. And if you will think how many people are on planet Earth, then you see there are many, many teachers and guides. Each of you here has at least 6 different teachers and guides from the invisible side that are working with you in different ways, and some of you more. Ways that, things that you are working with to understand and to raise your consciousness into. Troubling problems, as you would call them, a lack of understanding of the character traits that you have. They have overcome this in some life, and so they understand, and they are assigned to you so that they can be with you when you have these things come up, to give you the right thoughts. And if you are open to them, if you remember to send love to your teachers and guides and all the invisibles around you, this will help the connection. And it would not hurt to talk to them in your mind or even out loud when you're by yourself, and be grateful for their help. They are always there, because you're never alone, my dear ones. Your privacy is never invaded, but you are never alone.
How do guardian angels differ from guides? Is that the same, or is it the same? Or?
Some people use one name and some people use another. There are beings that have never incarnated in the physical, but most of the time when we talk of teachers and guides, we are talking about entities who are in between incarnations, and they, or maybe they have gotten off of the wheel of reincarnation, and they have chosen to work with the people of the earth. And these are what you call teachers and guides.
When Jesus made the statement, and I don't remember it exactly, that the child, let's see, that the angels that watch the child see the face of God regularly. Something of that. Do you remember that statement? Oh, I don't know if you would remember it. Don might, but I don't know if you would, Don.
Yes.
I don't know how.
Children do have special attention to them when they are small and are growing up. There are times when things do happen to children that are a part of their karma, and they have agreed for this to happen so that they can learn through this experience. We would call it bad things, or you would call it on your plane something bad. Maybe they are disabled in some way or some illness. But remember, you come to this plane to learn and to grow. You do not come here to be comfortable, to have everything good, and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable and have everything your way. But 90-some-odd% of you come to work out negative karma that you have acquired at other times. Another percentage of you have come to reap the positive karma, and maybe to help in raising the vibrations. You see, one who has worked out their karma on this plane, who incarnates, and you may call them a master, can be a very powerful force when they are in the physical. And there are some of these masters always on your plane. They may be your next door neighbor. They may be someone that you know, but you would never know that they are a master, because they do not reveal themselves unless it is something that is necessary. But their vibrations are very strong because they have mastered themselves, and they can channel God's love and light and healing power over this plane when they're in the physical, much greater than we can when we are disembodied.
Thank you.
Are there other questions that you would ask? I feel that it is good when we have a discussion group instead of just a lecture. It is good because you are opening up to ask questions and to be open for an answer. I feel that you get much more from it than just a lecture on some subject. This subject of release, though, is very important to you. And to remember, when you awaken in the morning, maybe you say something like this: "Thank you, Father, for this beautiful day. I release myself into your keeping for this day. I send your love ahead of me into this day, into my every thought, word, and deed, into every situation, into every encounter." And know, as you go through your day, that love is there to meet you every moment, everything that you do, every thought that you think, everything that you say. You see, this is the way that God is your constant companion. He is the life force that you are, but you can use His ability and His wisdom and His power so much more when you remember this, and when you remember to send His love ahead of you, when you remember to send love into the least things that you do. It is good when you will learn that you can be a constant fountain of God's love pouring through you at all times, in your waking hours and even in your sleeping hours. There is much to learn, and as you go through your days, keep your mind attuned to the light of understanding. God's light is a symbol of understanding and wisdom. And when you think in your mind, using your inner image to allow divine light to come into your mind, and this gives you greater understanding. And when you have a question, it helps the answer to be there much quicker, with much more understanding. When we have a session like this where you ask questions and talk together, it is like having a fireside chat, is it not? And it is good. The camaraderie is much better. The feeling of belonging to something and knowing that you are part of the spiritual family, because, my dear ones, you are. You have a physical family, maybe, but you have a spiritual family also. And your spiritual family is just as important as your physical family. And when you understand this and realize that you have known many entities for eons of time, have loved many of them, and been very close to many, many that you are not consciously aware of now. And it would be good to send love to all of those that you have known at other times, and to keep this love flowing. There's so many things to send God's love to. And as you go through your day, if you keep your mind open, you will be given other things to send love to. You're given thoughts from this side of many things that you can send love to. Life is love, because you see, God is love, and God has created life and everything in it out of himself. So you see, everything in life is love. And when you allow love to flow through you, then you are in tune with life and everything in life. When we work on this side, we are reminded by our teachers to release our charges in talking about the subject of release. And you did ask if there were mistakes made. This is one thing that someone knew in the work of helping those from this side of the veil in the physical, is to be not concerned about their charges and to help them whenever they are open. But when they make mistakes and insist on going down the wrong road or hurting themselves, then you see, we must let you do this and not be concerned, but just love you and wait until you come back to the fold, and know that you will, whenever you have enough pain, whenever your heart is troubled enough, you will remember to send love. You will remember to tune in to the higher part of you that is one with all life. Are there other questions this evening?
I'm not sure how to phrase it. It's really off the subject, but it's kind of important to me. I'm concerned. My sister is involved with a group that she's been involved with for many years. It sounds like a very spiritually evolved group. It's got all kinds of hierarchy and all kinds, it talks about karma and all kinds of things. However, when I asked the question about how she perceived Christ, she says, oh, he was a man with a mission. He was given to him by other individuals, and he did his job, and that's it. And I had a great difficulty with that answer, and it kind of put me concerned about her in some manner. I send her love and try to release it, but I find that concern coming up constantly.
Do not allow the concern to be there. Everyone is in a different stage of growth. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own concepts about everything. Allow her the freedom to have this concept, even if it's different from your concept or many other concepts. You see, God has given everyone free will. And when you hold concern or worry, then you are not giving them the freedom that God has given them. And it is good for you to release this and just send her love and release her into God's keeping. This thing that you call time is the thing that you use on your plane to grow with. You see, in time, she will understand, or he will understand, and know the truth, a larger truth, and then they will grow into another truth, another larger truth. And this is the life, the way life is. Life is continually expanding and bursting into more of itself. And you are life. And you know a truth today, but maybe a year from now, you understand it differently. Not that it's untrue today, what you know, but you understand it in a much larger way. And so it is with everyone in the whole universe. We are continually growing and expanding. And if I may give you a picture, think of your plane and maybe think of 6 planes above you that has the entities on 6 planes above you would have a much larger understanding, would they not? And so if they looked at you critically, they would say, you know, these people are in a bad shape. Would they not? Yes, but they do not do this because they understand. They know that everyone is doing the best that they can with their past conditioning. They are growing at their own pace, and God gives them that privilege. Please give them that privilege too.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why are you with the people you are with?
Would you speak louder, please?
Why are you with the people you are with?
And you're talking of yourself.
Into, yeah.
Yes. You made a plan before you came into the physical to work out certain things in your understanding, to raise your understanding. In some of your groups you call it working out your karma. I would like to refer to it as gaining a higher understanding. So in your plan, your teachers and the lords of karma help you to work this out. And you plan to come in at a certain time of history. You plan to come to parents where you will have the opportunities to grow and to expand into this larger understanding that you desire. Now, some of these parents may be very negative and may even abuse you. But you see, my dear ones, you have chosen that for that experience. And when you understand that there is no good or evil, that there is no duality, it is just experience. And everything that happens to you in your life, you have drawn to you through your consciousness. Your consciousness has brought that experience to you, and it is not important what happens to you. Remember, what is important?
How you react.
How you react to it. And that determines whether you're going to have it come back to you again. If you react in a negative emotional way and are disturbed about it, then you have programmed your life to have that experience again and again until you can react with gratitude, even though it is painful, even though it seems terrible to you in your understanding at the present. Does this make sense to you? A little bit, maybe. But this is the way that life works. You see, life is beautiful. Life is abundant. life is love. And when you have come to these lower dimensions, your thinking has been distorted about what life is. And you come back into each incarnation to gain a better understanding. And you plan these things to happen to you, to be in this situation for one thing only, for growth in learning the truth, spiritual growth, and learning to know the truth about this situation. And when you can handle this with love, as your master teacher did when they nailed him on the cross, and he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." When you can do this in each situation, then you are released from that coming back to you. Does this make sense? Get on. Did you ask him?
Not yet.
You haven't had the nerve to ask him
Well,
yet.
you know, something important. Something important. I don't know.
Never even thought about
What?
something like that.
Oh, no, they said.
What was that question that you had the other day, or a couple of weeks ago?
If he was gonna let someone else talk to her, you share experiences, you get more of a same level view than from last year. But then it's like if your friend told you, hey, you know, something happened to me. It's like same words, same feeling, and although he does a good job, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
No, I don't
Yeah,
either.
I heard you say you know, but
Okay.
I don't.
I'm glad you know.
Man, you guys are reading my mind.
Maybe they know.
I-
All right.
I guess not
Someone-
yet.
If someone, say, two little boys are talking, it's easier for them to understand each other than we get talking.
Well, didn't you ask for someone on your vibrational level to,
Oh, not mine particularly.
or
but-
fault to?
Yeah, someone that was in the room. Someone else that was here.
Well, you'll probably have to remind him because he was gonna take it to console them.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, is that right? Somebody else?
think.
Yeah,
It's
that,
been helpful.
let's see what has been said about that. It depends on the vibratory rate of the channel and the people in the room as to, you remember I said that when we developed in the class with Eloah that new people would come in and they would practice, maybe 3 or 4 teachers would try it out before someone was assigned to them, that their vibrations matched. And that is involved.
Yeah, you said it wouldn't make you too comfortable taking it.
That it would
You
what?
said it wouldn't make you all that comfortable.
Wouldn't make me all that comfortable.
Yeah,
Oh.
your body vibration.
I see.
But he didn't say no.
He was just gonna ask.
Yeah, he said it might not be the best thing in the world. I thought you could handle it. Yeah, he's pretty tough.
I'm glad you think so. Well, it's a beautiful experience to have the contact from the other side and to, I remember when I first got in the Oasis group, how beautiful and wonderful I felt, you know, to be a part of that group. I got into it. It's a little over a year after this started, and Eloah had been around for several months, you know. And when that first night that I came, why, he welcomed me, which I have never known him doing before, and said that I was in the right place and a few other things. And then my stepfather talked about some things that nobody else could know about in that group. And I guess it was just to give me confirmation that it was really because I'm kind of critical and analytical in my thoughts at times. But it was a beautiful experience. Still is.
You know, when Don was even was talking about sending divine love into your car, you know, I do that every day. And an experience that my wife still on, that she always runs her gas tank below empty.
Oh, I remember,
Did she tell you
yeah.
that?
Tell them,
No.
we're telling, it's good.
And they were in a hurry to get someplace, and she just didn't have time to stop and put gas in it while the light had been on. Well, she pokes the speedometer or the odometer when sets it at 0 as soon as the light comes on. Then she's got to figure it out. She has 53 miles she can drive, and then she's got to pull into the gas station. Well, this was about 55 or so, you know, on there. In the car, and they were in a hurry to get someplace, and the car quit. It ran out of gas. They sent divine love into it. She turned on the key, and it started again, and she drove, several miles, and it died again, and she did the same thing, and she got to where she was going, made it there on time, and then when they got out of there, the car started, and they went down the block, and it did it several times before she could get to a gas station. But she came.
Her faith kept her
Her
going.
faith kept it.
Yeah.
Kept going.
That's very possible.
And
It's strong enough.
I've been thanking the people that made my car since the day I bought that car. I remember that. And it's like, and it's not as direct as sending, although lately it's gotten to the point I visualize, I see light around the engine, and I see it in different spots. Okay, anyway. But once I got went in and had to have the transmission fixed, and the man just looked at me. It was the clutch. He said, "I don't understand it." He says, "This should have been broken years ago. It's all re-welded by something." He says, "It's been operating in some manner that somehow it re-welded itself in some spot." And I had no answers for him other than the car had held up that long and it always worked. So I don't know.
My car, and I've got it out here, and it's the most faithful thing I've ever had. So I've been love to it every day, and it's got 229,000, almost 230,000 on it, and still just runs just like a top.
Well.
Thinking about taking it to General Motors and say, "Hey, look what
the
I got
car."
here." They'd probably give me a new one and tear it down and
They had
see
to
why
do
it's so good.
Did I tell you the story about Hank? When back in Oklahoma, I hadn't been in the group too long, you know, maybe 3 or 4 months. And on Sunday, we'd spend most of the afternoon, you know, up in the evening. And but we'd take breaks, you know, between making contact. And so Darker Maid had been the keys, and I sit down in Doc's chair where he's sitting and just talking to Maid. And I just said, "Somebody wants to talk to you." So I put my hand on the planchette, and she did too, and this entity came on and announced himself as Hank. And he says, "Donald, I've been following you around because we have a lot in common, and learning from you." And I said, "Well, how old were you when you died?" And he said, "Well, I was very young because I was killed in a drunken brawl here in Oklahoma City." And I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I worked on big diesel engines." I said, "Good, because I'm not mechanically minded at all." I said, "You can help me with my car." And he did. He's been helping me ever since. Because if I have a flat tire, it's right in the middle of the filling station. Or anything else, you know. And when I start my car up, if there's something wrong, I have an impression, I go down, and sure enough, that needs attention. It's a very beautiful experience to have.
Hank must be with me too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's reincarnated or not, but I think he assigned somebody else to me if he did.
Dude, I was wondering what Marilyn Monroe was singing today.
You know?
Speaking of incarnations, really. I always had a list of questions today, but you get into class, you start.
You know,
scratching.
Ella commented on her because somebody asked about her, and he said that she was caught at a weak moment, and the dark entities pushed that onto her, you know, and she committed suicide. But he said, let's see, what else did he say? He said she was learning and was in a pretty good place. That was many years ago, 30 years ago or some, I don't know.
Just thought of something, I should have thought of it earlier, a question. You've talked about when you commit suicide, you know, they tend to go into the dark.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I was having a discussion with a fellow, and he said, we all commit suicide, so if we die because we choose to die.
Well, yes, in a sense that's true. But we make a contract before we're born, see? And we choose the day that we're going to be born, and we choose the day that we're going to graduate. Now, this is what Elva told us. Said that can be changed and extended or cut short if it's needed. See? For example, now, one of the people in the group, in fact, it was Frida's daughter, the one that was responsible for starting the group and wrote the book, was an alcoholic, and still is probably, and she had a young son, and she was told that if things didn't change that they would withdraw the child. But I guess things worked out because he's grown now, and when Frida died, he was the one that was in charge of her estate and everything. It's turned out real well. So many things can happen, you know, according to our free will and what we do with it.
The statement you just made, they would withdraw the child. That's an
Yeah.
interesting statement.
Well, you see, we give our guardian angels, the ones that's in charge of us, the freedom to...
Okay, so when you're talking about when it's the child, that's what that was the question I asked,
Yeah,
about
child,
guardian
but-
angels versus guides, or what that meant.
Mhm.
And the explanation was is that, yes, children have guardian angels, but apparently we don't have guardian angels once we get to a certain age.
Oh, yes, everyone has
Oh, okay.
what you call a guardian angel. I call it teachers and guides.
Okay, well, see,
They-
but see, to me, there's a difference, because, but that's just me, my interpretation.
Yeah.
You know, and it may be wrong, but my interpretation is because Christ made a point of saying that, and I still can't quote it properly, but it's there when he took little child to him, when he was sitting there,
Oh,
a little child.
yeah,
He made a
it's-
point of saying that they had angels that saw the face of God all the time.
The statement was that
Do you remember that thing?
suffer little children to come.
Come
The
to me.
children were gathering around
Right.
him, and the adults said, leave Jesus
Right.
alone, you know, something like this. And he said, suffer the little children to come unto me, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And unless you become like them, you cannot enter the kingdom.
Right, but then there's a further statement that goes
Is there?
beyond that,
Mhm.
about, for their angels perceive the face of God day and night. I don't remember the wording.
Yeah.
I had the book, I'd
He's
find it for you right now, but I don't have
talking
it.
about the innocence of the children, see.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the time I lost my innocence, you might say. And it's not what you're thinking.
I don't know! I think so. Like, well, what does he mean? That's what my thought was, right? My thought was, what do you mean? Mine was, what do you mean, really? Because I wasn't sure what you meant.
Okay.
But there's a lot of ways one can, depends on what your
Yeah.
interpretation is.
When I was small, I wasn't around other children that much. And I liked somebody, first time I met them, and you know, just liked them automatically. But when I was 13, I got a paper route, and be around some of the other guys, and they'd be talking about somebody that wasn't there. I got thinking, yeah, he is like that, isn't he? And pretty soon, those analytical negative thoughts started creeping in, and I started analyzing
So is it
people.
the analytical negatives, let's say, where you lose your innocence? Hey, I
Yeah.
lost that when I was 5 or 4. I don't know. It just seemed like, because I don't think I was.
Yeah.
Oh my, so is that way, that's how you,
Well, that's what
It's
I,
only in your perception.
yeah.
That's what you can remember.
Uh-huh.
Where was 5-7?
What did you say?
I was just mumbling.
Well, shall we call it the class?
Very good one tonight. It is every night.